What's up guys, welcome back, and in this video I'd like to take a look at user authentication for our application. So at this point, for regular users, we don't have any authentication in place and all users are guests by default. The advantage of this is that anyone can check out, but there are several disadvantages. One, for returning customers, they have to keep entering their information if they want to place more orders. And two, it's just generally a good idea to have a user dashboard which has information specific to that user. If you look at any e-commerce application, you'll see that they all have the ability to log in as a user. If you take a look at this article over here, which I'll link to below, it gives several approaches as to how to handle your checkout flow for an e-commerce application. I'll definitely be taking some pointers from here, but for our application, we'll give the ability to log in and also to check out as a guest. Let's take a look at how Amazon does it. If you go into Amazon, just pick some random product, add to cart. This is all outside of logging in, but once we go to the cart, we can still do this as a guest. But once we proceed to checkout, it's going to ask you to log in. And after you log in, it will bring you to the checkout screen. We will follow a workflow like this for our application. So you might know that Laravel already has some auth scaffolding in place. So let's go ahead and make use of that. So PHP artisan make auth. Now if you go into our application, you might be used to using this like with a default installation. But if you just go to the route, it actually works. It's just the styling doesn't work because we're not using Bootstrap. But if we go to register, this actually works. Let's make a new user, call it user at user.com, password, and if you register, again, that worked, but the default functionality is it redirects you to this home route, which we will fix later on, but I just want to show you that it does work out of the box, and we're going to be making use of it. I also want to show you that this works well with Voyager. So if we go into our admin backend, so that didn't work because we're still logged in as a normal user. So if we log out of here and try to go to admin now, this should work. Okay, cool. So let me just log in here. And if we go to our users here, you'll see that here's the user that we just created, and it added the appropriate role to it. You can edit it as expected, and yeah, it works really well with Voyager. Let me log out of here and show you a few more things. Back to here, if we go back to login, this actually works as well. I forgot your password. So if you go to use, let me just put the user in. But before I do this, I'm going to set up Mailtrap. So if you're not familiar with Mailtrap, it's a service that allows you to catch emails and display it in here. I use it all the time. Definitely check it out. But in our environment file, I'm just going to paste my my credentials in here. And after that, I'll show you that Mailtrap works. Okay, I put my credentials in there, and if I do this, that should work. And if I check Mailtrap, there is the reset password. And let me just click on it, and it should work. So if I do this, if I change the password to password 2, reset that password, that should work. Again, it redirects here, but we'll change that later on. If I log out and log back in, so user at user.com, password 2. Okay, so that works. Cool. So here's what I want to do. I want the user to know what state they're in, depending on if they're logged in or not. So if they're not logged in, I want to show the login and register links. And if they are logged in, I want to show the log out link. And maybe later on, we'll add a menu which allows them to access their dashboard. For example, if we go into Forge, right now I'm not logged in, so it's showing the login and register menus. But if I do log in, then it shows this menu which allows you to log out. For now, we'll just do log out, but later on, we might do a menu like this. I would also like to separate our menu out a bit. I want like a left menu here. So here, which has our actual application menu. So I'm going to put shop, about, and blog in this left menu. And on the right one, we'll keep cart, but we'll also add the register and login buttons, menu items in here. And like I said, we'll leave cart here because every e-commerce application I've seen has the cart in the top right. So we'll leave that there. Also for this right menu, I am not going to make it dynamic because there's going to be too much application logic in here. Like it's going to be login and register. And if you're logged in, I want it to be log out. So I don't think that the admin really needs to control that. So I'm going to make that not dynamic. So let's go ahead and do that into our code. And let me just go to landing page. So first thing I want to do is just shorten this title so we have more room in the menu. Okay. And like I said, I want a left menu and a right menu up here. One up here and one to the right over here. So let's go ahead and make a div right here. So it's going to be top nav left. And we'll end it there. We just indent that. And we'll make another one called top nav right. And like I said, I'm not going to make this right one dynamic. So instead of including this line, we'll just include it the normal way. So include partials dot menus dot main, call it main right. So let's make that right now. So resources, views, partials, menus. Let's just duplicate this one. So let's call it main right. And like I said, we're going to hard code these in. So this one's going to be register. And we'll call it sign up. Let's make one for login. So it's going to be login. And we'll call it login. And we'll do one more for the cart. So I believe it's called cart.index. Let's name it cart. And let's make sure we have that logic to show the cart number of items in the cart. So we'll just copy that, paste that in there, and then we no longer need this. Okay, let's see how that looks. It's probably going to look really weird because I didn't touch the CSS yet. Okay, so at least this one's to the left. And okay, let's work on our CSS. So let me just run my watcher. And most of the CSS should be in header.sass. Should be down here in the header. All right, let's add one for that top nav left and top nav right like we did. Okay, top nav left, display flex, and same for top nav right. Display flex and align items center. Okay, it's looking better. Let's add some margin after the logo here. So that should be, where's that? Somewhere up here, right here, the logo. Let's do margin right, 58 pixels. See how that looks. Okay, that looks better. And let's give this some spacing. So let's go ahead and do that. So right here, I don't want to do this anymore, because if you look at the menu episode I did a few episodes back, if you do this, then if you add menus in the admin, then it's not going to be that dynamic. So I just want to add margins in between the list items. Let me just save that. And let me just add a new one here for LI. And let's do margin right 38 pixels. And for the last one, I don't want any margin. See how that looks? Okay, that's looking good. And let's do the same thing for this. So we don't need any of these anymore. Okay, cool. Let's quickly get rid of this in the admin. So here, admin. Let me just remove that from the menus. So tools, menu builder, main. We don't need this. Okay, see how it looks. Here. All right, that's looking good to me. Now, if you go into another page, the menu is going to be screwed up because I have this logic in two places, which I shouldn't have done, but see, it doesn't show the left menu here. So let me just quickly fix that. I believe it's in nav, yeah. So same deal here. Let's make a top nav left. Let's put that here. Let's make a top nav right. And let's copy this. But instead of this, we want landing this. Cool. See how that looks? And we are good. Let's check the links if they work. They do. So that's the sign up. Let's check the login. Okay. Like I said, I'm not going to style this yet. But if we go into our code, it's in here, resources, views, auth, login. And if I just change this, layouts.app is the one that Laravel provides, but ours is just called layout, which is right here or somewhere. There it is. So if I just change this to layout, that should actually bring the header and the footer in. So there you go. Let's do the same for register. So it should be in here. Let's change it to layout again. And if we go to register, it looks half decent. Now let's make it so that when we're logged in, this changes to logout. So back into our code. Where's this? This is main right. So right here. So we want this sign up and login to show up if we're a guest. And if we're not a guest, so else, we want the log out to show up. But we can't just do, let's end the if here, and guest, sorry. We can't just do a normal route. We have to make it a form. So let's see what Laravel does in the original layout that it provides. So where is it? Layouts.app, I believe. Yeah. So there should be a logout somewhere here. There it is right there. Just copy this. And you also have to put the form in there. So back to our menu, let's just paste that in. Actually, yeah, let's paste it in. Let's clean it up. And let's make sure this is wrapped in list item. And if we did that correctly, that should work. So right now we are not logged in, so these two links show. So let's log in, user@user.com, password 2, login, and let's just go back here, and there we go. Let's log out, see if that works, and it does. Cool. So now let's change the redirect. As you saw, it redirected to /home, and we don't want that. That's pretty straightforward. There is a controller up here, app HTTP controllers, called login controller, auth login controller. And all we have to do is change this to /. And that should redirect to the right place after we log in. And it does. Cool. I actually want to make that a bit better. Let me show you what I mean. Let me log out for a sec. And say we're shopping. We go to this. We're interested in buying this. But when we log in, it's going to redirect us back to the home page. What I wanted to do is I wanted to stay on this page here. So let me just show you. Well, you already saw that, so you know it's going to redirect to the home page. Like I said, I wanted to redirect to the page that we were on. So to do that, let's make use of Laravel's helpers and sessions. So all we want to do is remember the page before we are on the login page. So let's go ahead and do this. So in login controller, let's override some of the methods from this trait. So let's override this one, which is just returning the view. Let's put it right underneath here. And the only thing I want to add is put the previous URL in a session. So session put, let's call it previous URL, and let's put in, there's a helper called URL previous. Save that. And now we also want to override this to use that previous URL, but we can't just put it in here. We have to override the, let me show you, there's another trait in here, which is, it's just checking if that property exists, if the method exists. If a method exists called redirect to, then use that, but if it doesn't, use this. So let's make a new method called redirect to. Redirect to, doesn't take any params. And let me just show you something. Let me just die and dump session get previous URL. So if I just die and dump that, let me just show you what we get. So if I log in here, this should be the previous URL. So it should be shop camera 7. Log in, user@user.com, password 2. And it is, but we don't want this part of the URL. We only want the /shop/camera7. So to do that, all we have to do is make use of PHP's str replace function and just replace that part with nothing, essentially. And if we do that, that should work. So let me just do this again. This part means if this doesn't exist, so that case would happen when we directly go to that URL, and this should still work. If it doesn't exist, then it'll just go back to the home page. So let's give that a try. So let's go to laptop 1 and let's log in. user@user.com, password 2, login, and it redirects to the appropriate page. Cool. And let me add that to the cart and show you how to require authentication before checking out. It's pretty straightforward. So right now there's no authentication in place, so we can go to the checkout, no problem. But we can make use of Laravel's middleware, so we can't hit that checkout page unless we're logged in. So it's really easy. All we have to do is, so for the checkout.index, let's call a middleware, and Laravel has one called auth. And now if we do that, now if we try to go there, it still works. Shouldn't work. Oh, that's because we're logged in, right? Yeah. Okay, so if we're not logged in, so add to cart. Now this should bring up the login page because we're not logged in. And it does, cool. Now if we log in, if hopefully Laravel redirects us to the checkout page, and I believe that's the default functionality. And it does, awesome. So let's change this because we're logged in and every user has an email address already. So let's fill this in and make it read only. Back to our code, let's go to checkout.blay.php, and right here for email, let me just duplicate this and let's make it read only, and the value is going to be the logged in user's email. So auth user email. See if that works. There we go. It's read only because we're just getting that from the logged in user. And later on, once we build the user dashboard, we'll fill in this information automatically as well. But for now, this is looking pretty good. One more small thing I would like to take a look at. Let's look at the whole flow. Let's log out. Looks like I made an error here. That shouldn't show. So let's go to menu right, I believe. Main right. Yeah, what did I do wrong here? Yeah, I forgot to do this. Yeah. So let's just do that. And if, okay. And let's go through this whole workflow. Like I said, there's one more thing I want to show you and we'll fix it. So let's buy an item as a guest, add to cart, proceed to checkout. So this page is eventually going to have a few options, one for checkout as guest or one to register right here. So if you want to register, we can click this link too. Let's do that. Let's do user2 at user2.user.user2.com, password, and I just want to show you that this redirects to that home page as well, because by default it registers you and it logs you in, and it has a different controller for that. So yeah, we don't want that. We want it to redirect to the checkout page. So let's just change that. There is a register controller here. All we have to do is change this to /checkout. And let's give that another try. Laptop 12. Add to cart. Proceed to checkout. Sign up. User3 at user3.com. Password, and now this should automatically redirect to the checkout page. Awesome, it does. And here is our read-only field, and looks like we're good. Ninja edit from the future. One thing I caught was if we're logged in, let me just log in real quick, and we go back to the login page directly, it redirects to home. We don't want that. So if you go into our redirect if authenticated middleware, just change this obviously to / or whatever you want. And let's try that again. Log in, user@user.com, password. And if we visit that again, okay, and register should be the same. Cool. So we managed to add an auth layer to our application, which requires users to log in before they check out. In the next video, we'll allow for guest checkout, which doesn't require a login for the user. Also, I'm going to run a poll for the next few days. I actually designed the login page and the register page here in Sketch. And if you guys want to see me do the CSS for that, just vote for it. If not, then vote no. If you vote no, that allows me to do other videos more quickly. But if you want to see the CSS, let me know. Just click that I in the top right of the video and put your vote in. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, thanks. Bye.